We're going to work on pulling the handle here. The first thing you would do is take your clay that you wedge, and I would say at a minimum do 3.5. You can do more up to 5. It does get a little heavy, and then you want to kind of taper the one end, so you have a nice taper starting here. And then what you're going to do is just kind of have the sink going. Grab the clay up here, and then I've never melted a cob, but this is what I envision it to be. And so I'm grabbing up here a little bit and pulling down and kind of just dragging my hand down, and as a result, that clay starts to get wider. Okay. One other thing you want to do here is we're not going to make a perfect circle with our hand, and so you have to kind of alternate your hand position. So I pull down here, and then I'm going to turn and come 90 degrees from the other way to try to keep it a circle. Okay. And I'm trying to pull about a 6 to 8 inch handle here, and I want the bottom part of the handle to be about 3 inches, and then the top, the bottom 3 inches to be about the width of your finger, and then the top to be about the width of your thumb. That's kind of what we're going for here. If at any time, as you're pulling, you get a spot that it goes thin to thick, you should just cut it off then, because you're going to lose it eventually. Okay? You can set that clay on the sink, but please clean it up. All right, so we're just going to continue to kind of pull down, turn, pull. We're just trying to make a little cylinder here that tapers. When I work on these in my own studio and I'm pulling 100 handles, I even have a bungee up here to help hold my handle. This will get heavy for you as you keep going here. Okay, so now as you look at this, I've got about 3 inches here that are about the width of my finger, and then it tapers up to something bigger. Okay, at that point, I'm going to take and use the web of my hand and start to make this a flat strap, if you will. And so I'm going to come up here and kind of press in with my knuckles, but make sure my web of my hand is pressed up against it. And I'm going to pull down. Then I need to turn that 180 degrees about every 2 pulls so that I keep it level. Okay, so after I get that, you can see how it tapers big to small and a little bit big to small there. Then what I want to do is I want to make a thumb groove in that. And so in this chunkier part here, that's where I'm making the thumb groove. Down here, it doesn't really need to be one. But I'm just going to take my thumb and kind of press in up here a little bit. And then just with the tip, I'm just going to kind of drag the tip of that thumb down to make kind of a groove for my thumb. So it's a little bit more comfortable to hold when I'm drinking out of it with a mug. Okay. At that point, I'm ready to cut it. Now, when I get ready to cut it, a lot of times students cut it too short. Okay. We want to use some of this thick clay up here, but this is too thick. So we want, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch thickness. So right about there is where we want to cut it. Also, look at my handle size, 6 to 8 inches. If your handle is much longer, it means you pulled up too high. You started your pull of the handle too much, and that's okay. You can always cut that off. Okay? So now I'm going to transfer this down here. And so I transfer down here, and this is where I'm going to cut this off. So I fold it with my right hand, and I take my left thumb and position it. So I'm going to push down with my left thumb and pull up with my right hand. So push, pull. And that gives you a really nice angle for us to attach that later on. Now, for the handle part of your project, you need to pull 10 handles and then just lay them on the board or just the table. And so when we lay them down, we take that flat spot and lay it flat, and then kind of bend that handle around to form that handle shape. Okay, and so I want to see 10 of those. And I'll kind of correct you on those of where you need to be. Okay. Then you're going to do 15 that you are going to attach to our imaginary bucket. Okay. So again, I'll pull another handle here. Lay this down. Don't want to cut it too thick. Don't want to cut it too thin. So look for that 3/4 inch thickness. Pinch and pull. Okay. So at this stage, we're going to do 15 where after we pull them, we're going to attach them directly to the bucket, okay? And this bucket's going to symbolize our mug that we're going to throw. And so I'm going to start by scoring this to attach. And so I don't want to necessarily attach it right on the flat part here. I want to actually attach it right here on the tip of it. And so I'm going to score that right here. And then I'm also going to score it on the flat part, but this is the part that I'm going to attach it with. Okay. Now, if I have my mug here and it's a leather hard, a wet leather hard, I don't have to slip it. Okay. If it gets a little bit more dried out, you should slip it. Okay. I would score where I'm going to attach it and below. And you shouldn't score it right at the top. We want it to drop down a little bit. The handle really shouldn't be above the plane of the rim. So you should be able to take your mug and turn it upside down, and the handle shouldn't touch the table. And so we want to start that below. So I'm going to start by letting this hang down and kind of press it up against the pot here. So I'm holding it with my right. I'm taking my left hand and pressing up against that handle, and then pressing it onto my mug. Okay, and then I'm just working on making a nice transition. So it should be a nice clean line that just transitions into my handle. And make sure that you get both sides of the handle pressed on. At that point, I'm going to take and lay it on its side. Okay, and I can do some finishing touches to that handle attachment. And then I'm going to look, and I want to make sure that it's one square line. You'd be amazed how many potters and students I see that don't align their handles. And so we want to align it. And then we want to look at our curve here. We don't want a curve that comes way out. It's very uncomfortable to drink out of. The handle, the mug feels heavy. So we want a handle that's close to the pot, but yet has enough arch that I can get at least 2 fingers, possibly 3. Ideally, you want 3 because it's going to shrink to more 2 fingers. So you want a 2-finger mug. You need to be able to get 3 fingers in it before it's been fired. Okay? At that point, once I have it aligned, I'm taking the part that touches here, and I'm going to press down and then pull. Okay? And so again, I'm looking for a nice transition line. There should be a bump here. It should just be a nice transition line that comes up and over. Okay? And I've got my handle here. And then you can just show me. Okay? You can just kind of bring it over to me and show me, or tell me across the room, and I'll let you go there. You can add more handles if you want, but the problem is the more you use that, okay, the handle starts to sag. So it's up to you on that. If you want to make 2 or 3 handles before you show me, but you need to show me 15 full handles on a bucket. Questions?